Nestle has been in Sri Lanka for over 100 years. We have been committed to enhancing the lives of the local community since the very beginning.
We purchase hundreds of thousands of litres of milk from 18,000 farmers every day.
Committed to increasing fresh milk production in Sri Lanka, we help local dairy farmers produce milk that meets our high-quality standards.
Nestle, empowering Sri Lankan dairy farmers.
Hello there, very good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Mahina Bongzo. Can the President contest for a third term in office?
This is fast becoming one of the most contentious topics in the island, with opposing views expressed across the political arena.
We have a comprehensive report coming up on the news, but first a look at your headlines tonight.
After 24 years, the Yal Devi train reaches Jaffna. UPFA Provincial Councillor Salia Sumedha says he will resign his seat if he is not given an opportunity to serve the people. Fists fly at the Kotmale Development Coordination Committee meeting.
We're starting off tonight's news bulletin with some very good news. The Yal Devi train resumed services to Jaffna today after a lapse of 24 years. The historic train journey to mark the occasion commenced under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa boarded the Yal Devi train, which connects the north and south from the Palai train station, subsequent to religious observances this morning. The train departed the Palai train station at the auspicious time of 9:30 am, making its way through Kodigamam and Namatkuli train stations, which were declared open by President Mahinda Rajapaksa en route to Jaffna. Following the 400-kilometer journey to Jaffna, the Yal Devi train service was declared open to the public. The railway control room stated that multiple journeys from Colombo to Jaffna will begin from tomorrow. The Yal Devi train service will commence from the Fort railway station in Colombo and from the Mount Lavinia and Mathura train stations.
And 12 substations in between.
Around 1880, the governor of Ceylon, Henry Gregory, noticed the underdevelopment nature of the north while on an expedition to the jungles there and decided to focus attention on bringing progress to the area. Historical chronicles note that Governor Gregory appointed a commission in 1887 to initiate the construction of a northern railway line, realizing the lack of transport medium was the biggest challenge to development in the area. Construction commenced from Kurunegala northwards in April 1900. while construction from Kankasan to Ray southwards commenced in July the same year. However, the Yaldevi train finally commenced services more than 50 years later on the 23rd of April 1956. From then until the 4th of July 1990, when the train was attacked, the Yaldevi served as one of the primary economic, social and cultural links between the south and the north.
There was an explosion in Kokaville in 1985. The train service was not in operation subsequently. It was only after the Indian Army arrived here that the train services recommenced. However, in 1990 there was another explosion in Murugandi. Since the train service was not in operation for 24 years, I am happy about the recommencement of this train service.
The reconstruction of this railway line was undertaken by the Indian Company.
The Kotmale Development Coordination Committee meeting held today ended in a brawl. The brawl broke out between Deputy Minister V. Radhakrishnan and Ceylon Workers Congress Central Provincial Councillor M. Rameshwaran.
The Development Coordination Committee meeting commenced this morning under the auspices of Deputy Minister V. Radhakrishnan, who was sworn in recently. CWC's Central Provincial Councillor M. Rameshwaran voiced his protest at this meeting over an incident where his faction was allegedly done an injustice through the allocation of funds for a project. The Deputy Minister subsequently decided to postpone the meeting. Tensions flared as the group exited the hall. The police say that investigations have commenced into the incident where two factions were involved in a brawl.
We said we shall discuss this following the meeting. He said no and that he would not let the meeting be held until he had an answer. There was a minor confrontation. I suspended the meeting for 10 minutes. When we had some tea and came out 10 minutes later, my secretary was assaulted. Several months ago, funds were allocated for development via the Honourable Economic Development Minister Basil Rajapaksa. He used his power at the DCC and diverted that money into building roads. So today at the DCC meeting, I told him about the roads and asked for an answer. He said he is the DCC chairman and he can do anything and that he would not give that money. I told him I was a public representative for Kotmale and that we need this money for the bridge. At that point, the DCC chairman's son, Raja Ram, and the secretary assaulted me. I did not hit them, I only pushed back. This clearly shows the conflict within the government. We can see how elected public representatives have descended into unruliness. As public representatives, they should not engage in acts that embarrass those who elected them. We can see how the argument between these parties turned into fisticuffs. We condemned what happened today.
Close on the heels of his resignation as Deputy Chairman of the Provincial Council, UPFA Provincial Councillor Salya Sumedha says he will resign his seat in the council too if he is not given an opportunity to serve the people from within the council. Salya Sumedha is incidentally the son of Minister Sumedha G. Jayasena.
Salya Sumedha received 21,206 votes at the concluded Uva Provincial Council election and was placed third on the UPFA list. Although he was appointed deputy chairman of the council at its maiden sitting recently, he subsequently resigned this position. Salya Sumedha said following his resignation that he was hoping to receive a position through which he could serve the people.
If I do not receive a position, it will not be a problem. I will continue with my work as a provincial councillor. I will take steps to correct the shortcomings that exist. I will serve the people by correcting these matters. If I am unable to correct them, and if it comes to a position where there is no benefit from this council seat, then I will have to resign and go home.
Meanwhile, a topic that came up during the debate on the Saturday program telecast on Sirius TV on Saturday night was whether election fraud had occurred at the Uva Provincial Council election.
මෙතුමාම කිව්වා රාජපක්ෂලා මෙතුමාගේ පුතාගේ ඡන්ද හොරකම් කළා කියලා. මම කිව්වා. ඇයි දේ අම්මපල්ල කියලා කිව්වේ නැහැ කියලා. හරි අම්මපල්ල කියන්නේ අම්මපල්ල කියන්නේ අම්මපල්ල. ආයි බා. මෙයා හොඳ රංගපාන්නේ නෑ මෙයා. මෙයා හොඳ රංගපාන්නේ කළා. ඇයි දෙන්නේ? ඔප්පු කරන්නේ. ඇයි දෙන්නේ? මෙතුමාගේ පුතා තමයි වැඩිම ඡන්ද ගත්තේ ගිය පළාත් සභාවේ. රාජ්‍ය රාමනායක පුතා ගත්තේ. ඒක මැතිවරණ කොමසාරිස්ගෙන් අහන්න ඔය. මැතිවරණ මේ ප්‍රතිපාදනය මේකයි වැඩේ. මේ සාක්කියක් තියෙනවා කිව්වද නැද්ද? සාක්කියක් තියෙනවා. මේ කාරණේ අපි ජනතාවට කියනවා. බොරු කියන්නේ එපා. බොරු කියන්නේ එපා. මෙතුමාගෙන් මම අවසරයක් ගත්තා මේක කියන්න. රාමනායක මෙතුමා. මහා කිව්වා. රාමනායක මෙතුමා. මෙතුමාට හොඳම නළුවට දෙන්න. රාජ්‍ය රාමනායක මෙතුමා. තියෙනවා ඒක. හම්බෙලා තියෙනවා. ඇත්තෙන්ම මම මේ තුමා අපහසුතාවයට පත් කරලා සමා වෙන්න. මම කියන්නේ ජයසේන මැතිතුමිය කියලා රාජපක්ෂලා එතුමාගේ පුතාගේ ඡන්ද හොරකම් කළා කියලා විනාඩියක් දෙන්න.
Meanwhile, since the Chief Minister of the Uva Province, Shashindra Rajapaksa, is abroad at present, Anru Vidanagamage was sworn in as acting Chief Minister recently before the Governor of the province.
Addressing a media briefing in Colombo today, General Secretary of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna Tilvin Silva says that the President cannot contest for a third term in office even after the implementation of the 18th Amendment to the Constitution.
We
believe that the President does not have the right to contest for a third term in office in the backdrop where a two-thirds majority was created without the true mandate of the people. Hence it is evident that a two-thirds majority was created in order to pass the amendment. Law experts, including the former Chief Justice, have clearly said that there are no provisions in the law to allow the President to contest for a third term in office, even after the enactment of the 18th Amendment to the Constitution. We also bear the same opinion. The President cannot seek a mandate from the people to contest for a third term, even after the amendment to the Constitution. If the President seeks a mandate for a third term, it would be an illegal election.
The JVP notes that they will be launching a campaign to affirm the position that President Mahinda Rajapaksa is incapable of contesting another presidential election.
A series of meetings will be staged around the country along with Sarath N. Silva and our party leader Andru Kumara Dissanayake. We will commence this campaign from Kandy. We hope to gather Shirani Bandaranaike as well for our campaign. We will be gathering together lawyers, former magistrates and lawyer associations. We will bring all of them together and prove that President Mahinda Rajapaksa cannot contest another presidential election.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka says it has decided to seek the opinion of an independent legal expert on the argument pertaining to President Mahinda Rajapaksa's ability to contest for a third term in office. At a meeting held today, the BASL Secretary Attorney at Law Ajit Patirana elaborated on the matter and noted that the Elections Commissioner would be informed of the independent opinion.
නීති සංගමේ විධායක සභාව මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් නිල ප්‍රකාශයක් වගකීමක් දරන සංගමයක් වශයෙන්
As a respectable organization, the Executive Committee of the Bar Association has decided to seek an independent expert opinion regarding this matter prior to making an official statement. Therefore, we have sought the opinion of Mr. Ratnapala, who is a professor of the legal faculty at the Queensland University and a legal expert. Once we receive an expert opinion, the Bar Association will submit it to a General Assembly and then issue an official statement.
නීති සංගමය මේ මහා සභාවකට යොමු කර ඉන් අනතුරුව නිල වශයෙන් ප්‍රකාශ කිරීමට ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් නිල ප්‍රකාශයක් ලබා දීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
Born in Colombo, Sri Lanka, Suri Ratnapala attended Royal College Colombo and the University of Colombo, where he gained his first law degree. He is currently a professor of law at the University of Queensland. In 1990 and 2000, Professor Ratnapala published 2 legal books which earned him international accolades. He was awarded a Sir Anthony Fisher International Memorial Prize by a panel chaired by Nobel laureate James Buchanan. UPFA parliamentarian Ranjit de Souza had this to say regarding the upcoming presidential election.
I asked why it is that Mahinda cannot contest for a third time. We say to the UMP and the JVP not to use these false slogans. If Mahinda Rajapaksa's government is not good, if Mahinda Rajapaksa's government is corrupt, if it destroy the country and put the country into a debt trap, then chase away the UPFA in the next second if they can.
The UNP says that a common candidate representing the UNP should be selected for the upcoming presidential election. At a media briefing held today, parliamentarian Joseph Michael Pereira said that their candidate would be announced soon after the announcement of the presidential election.
They have not made an announcement as to who it is. We are now deciding on a common candidate. When we say common candidate, what we mean is that the UMP is the force that has the power to form a government, and all other forces should join this force. When the date of the presidential election is announced, the UMP working committee will announce the name of the UMP candidate. Venerable Sobhitera has an idea to abolish the executive presidency. While the JVP has a problem with the economic system, if we can come to an agreement, then they must accept that the candidate who can win or candidate who can defeat Mahinda will be the candidate for the UMP, not from any other party. We will say who it is the day after the presidential elections are announced.
Speaking at an event held to lay the foundation stone for the Wellawatta Fisheries Community Hall in Seeduwa, UPFA parliamentarian Dr. Sudarshini Fernando Pulle said the common candidate of the nation is President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Some are speaking of a common candidate at present. There is only one common candidate in this country, and that is His Excellency President Mahinda Rajapaksa. His Excellency the President ended the war and upheld the human rights of all the people in this country, regardless of party divisions. He brought freedom to all. In his second term since 2010, he has brought development to all.
United National Party Deputy Leader Sajith Premadasa says that the current government is changing the country's constitution based on its own whim. He made this comment at an event held in Lunugambehera today.
A presidential election is to be held. Can the president contest for a third term? Is it constitutional? Are there legal provisions to do so? There are interesting debates taking place on this matter. Today, the country's constitution is being violated in broad daylight. There is no law and order in the country. We are living in an era where the constitution and the law are being manipulated based on the whim of certain sections. Discussions on this matter are a waste of time. We all know that the constitution is not being implemented. The constitution is being implemented on the needs and wants of government leaders. The provisions in the constitution are being thrown away into the trash, and they implement the provisions which are favorable for them and discard the provisions which are unfavorable.
The event, which was held at the Devarum Vihara Purana Viharaya, was organized to welcome the new deputy leader of the United National Party. Here the MP presented a water bowser to area residents.
Meanwhile, leader of the Democratic Party, Sarath Fonseca, after addressing the Gaul district organizers meeting, expressed his views to the media. Fonseca said that political savagery should be rejected.
As the presidential election is drawing closer, this leader has already resorted to acts of thuggery. This leader has already paved the way for threats and political savagery to take centre stage in the country. We request the public to be aware of this, reject such politicians and do not support them.
Speaking at the Matara District Convention of the Jatika Hela Urumaya yesterday, Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka commented on a factor necessary for victory at a presidential election.
Wickramasinghe must win 4 out of every 10 Sinhala votes in order to win. The UMP does not have a single electorate in Sri Lanka where there are Sinhalese people where they can win 40% of the vote. How much did they win in Monaragala? Although they say they won, they had only 31%. The Tamil and Muslim vote is not enough for Ranil to win. He needs the votes of the Sinhalese. The same applies to our president. Our president has lost 1.1 million votes. He needs the votes of 6 out of every 10 Sinhalese. There are only 4 or 5 such electorates in all of Sri Lanka. Who does he need to win? Although they say everything is won, those people will not give enough votes. These people are being deceived. They did not give it in 2005 and neither will they give it in 2015.
Venerable Athuraliya Ratanathera, speaking to Newsfirst on our special segment Newsline, commented on the JHU's stance on the upcoming presidential elections.
There is talk in the country that there is going to be a presidential election soon. As a leader of the Jatik Hela Urumaya and a stakeholder in the government, would you know if there is anything of this nature?
No, we do not know about this.
How can you rally the people and pressurize the government while being a part of the government and holding a ministerial portfolio?
It can be done and we have shown that it can be in the past.
How have you shown this?
We can bring the people onto the street. We can protest, strike and organize rallies and carry out public awareness programs. We can do all of this.
Do you believe that what is taught and preached is being followed by the leaders?
If the leaders do not follow this, then we can make them follow it.
The presidential election is said to be a people's election, with people's representatives contesting the election. What are your thoughts on this?
I do not believe it is a people's election, but rather the intention of one person.
For more of the views expressed by Venerable Athuraliya Ratanathera, tune in to the main news bulletin at 10 tonight on our sister channel Sursa TV.
And with that, we go in for a short commercial break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Today's Maubima newspaper reports that an investigation has been initiated on an order from the highest echelon of the security services into the relationship between a drug smuggler and the head of an electronic media network, which includes a recently established TV channel.
The Maubima report reads further, the investigation is being undertaken based on information revealed by a key underworld leader who was interrogated following his arrest several weeks ago. The Maubima report highlights that important information had come to light regarding the involvement of the head of the TV channel and his family in the smuggling of drugs into Colombo and their distribution. The Maubima report notes further that this underworld leader was cornered by the police after he killed several members of the illegal drug distribution network.
What is the UMP National Executive Committee? This is a question that has become a very common conundrum for the public at present. The most commonly asked question in attempting to comprehend this matter is if there is any difference between the National Executive Committee and the Working Committee.
As per the UNP Constitution, the National Executive Committee is only subjugant to the party convention. One task of the National Executive Committee is to decide on the party's policies and programs and implement them. The Executive Committee is also vested with the power to propose amendments to the party constitution and inform the Working Committee, ratify regulations determined by the Working Committee and amend the standing orders of the party. Additionally, the Executive Committee has the power to accept reports submitted by the Working Committee and to prepare the list of Executive Committee members. The UNP was able to be in government for 34 years as a result of the Executive Committee being proactive in the decision-making process. This is its composition: the party leader, all members of the party working committee, all parliamentarians in the UNP parliamentary group who hold party membership, all provincial councillors who hold UNP membership, all UNP group leaders in all local government bodies, all working committee members of the Eksat-lak Vanita Front, all working committee members of the National Youth Front, 75 representatives nominated at the party convention, no less than 100 representatives of affiliated institutions as per recommendations, understanding orders, and other members appointed as per the regulations and standing orders determined by the working committee. As per the UNP constitution, the working committee should determine the party policies and programs and is subject to the party convention and national executive committee. The party leader, the party deputy leader, the party assistant leader, the party's national organizer, the party chairman, 2 senior deputy chairmen, 3 deputy chairmen, party general secretary, 2 assistant secretaries, party treasurer, the party assistant treasurer, the chairman of the policy and research division, the media spokesperson, the general manager of the party propaganda division, the legal secretary, the human rights secretary, the international affairs secretary, the party's chief whip in parliament, the party's deputy chief whip in parliament, the party's group leaders in the provincial councils, while a representative should be appointed from each district from among the parliamentarians, provincial councillors or electorate council chairpersons. As per the decision of the advisory council, at least one of these members should be a woman. 4 trade union representatives of the party recommended by the advisory council, with at least one of them being a woman. 3 representatives of party affiliated organizations decided by the advisory council, with at least one of them being a woman. Chairman of the National Youth Front and chairperson of the Eksat-lak Vanita Front. No more than 9 representatives selected by the advisory council representing each of the provinces on the basis of seniority, with no less than one of these representatives being a woman. And 20 individuals nominated by the party leader, with no less than 3 of them being women. While such a large working committee exists, over the past 18 years, the party has been handed defeat at 28 elections. When the UNP recorded a historic 5/6 victory in 1977, the working committee comprised of only 29 members. There were only 5 office bearers.
A letter requesting aid from various institutions is being circulated at present by the coordinating secretary to a minister under a ministry letterhead. The letter requests for aid in the form of exercise books and school equipment.
The letter requests for exercise books and school equipment to be distributed among low-income families in the district the minister represents, under the welfare program of the minister whom the addresser claims to represent. The letter requests further that a photograph of the president be printed on the exercise books and that education ministry logos be emblazoned on the school equipment that is to be donated. The coordinating secretary who has addressed this letter also mentions the cost of such printing. Furthermore, the letter lists a bank account number. The letter also notes that the addressers should be informed when the goods to be donated are prepared, adding that the ministry will provide the necessary transport arrangements.
Senior DIG of Police of the Western Province, Anura Senanayake, broke into song during a media briefing held today. The invitation for this media briefing had been extended under the signature of Police Media Spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohana. The media briefing was held in order to announce the launch of a welfare fund for the Ranaviru Police Housing Scheme.
The announcement of the welfare fund was held in line with the launch of Senior DIG Anura Senanayake's music album. The Senior DIG, Police Media Spokesperson and DIG for Colombo, Gamini Mathurata made this announcement at a media briefing held today. The Deputy Inspector General announced that they hope to allocate 2 million rupees for the welfare fund from the sales of the CD.
Daruan mage piyasar karanne midavasin mema kaudu bindinne attatu mage.
එමනම් හිරුට බිඟුට හොරෙන් දිට්ඨ මංගලිකා සිප ගන්න 18 වෙනිදාට නෙළුම් පොකුණ රඟාලට එන්න
The DAG also remembered an old song. Maybe all of you know of this old movie. This is a stanza from the movie Mage Prema Mata, which speaks of worshipping your mother. I will recite it.
Ayudigang vattatang mantupadang namamahang. 이러세 기대 나와. 이러 다따라 내가 다 어떻게 되나? 매 기대 만 가야나 그러면 Buddhikaro alingitma Chumbitma piya puttakang Rajamadang tuppatittang Pitupadang
China's Xinhua news agency reports that the Indonesian and Sri Lankan foreign ministers have met in Jakarta to discuss ways to step up efforts in addressing the issue of human smuggling. Sri Lankan External Affairs Minister Professor G.L. Piris met with his Indonesian counterpart Marty Nagalahewa. The ministers had noted that it will take the cooperation of other countries which have similar problems such as Bangladesh, the Philippines, India and Australia to effectively tackle the problem. Let's now go in for a short commercial break. More local news coming up next.
Take a look at news from here at home once again. The 2014 sports meet of Gateway College Rajgiriya concluded yesterday.
The two-day sports meet held over the weekend saw the students of Gateway College showcasing their talents in track and field events, the drills and march past, and also in the decoration of houses. Former Sri Lankan Test cricket captain Mahala Jayawardena was the chief guest at the closing ceremony of the sports meet held yesterday.
Sometimes you get a good ball. If it gets you out, you just have to forget about it and make sure you do the hard work out there next time you get in. Sports, my dear children, teaches us to rise after a fall. It teaches us to bounce back.
You cannot measure success without failure. For you to measure success, you need to fail. That's when you know that you achieved something. So don't be afraid to make those decisions. Don't be afraid to make bad decisions, because you learn from that and you rectify those mistakes and you move forward. I think that's what life is all about. That's what the challenge is all about.
Inter-House Junior Championship Trophy runner Stephen House goes to Arshad Sani.
The grand finale of the SIMA Launchpad was held in Colombo yesterday. The SIMA Launchpad is a competition organized by the SIMA Student Society to promote entrepreneurship in Sri Lanka and saw the participation of individuals from various business backgrounds.
5 teams out of 10 were selected to the grand finale of the CIMA Launchpad 2014 and were judged on their ability to communicate and strategize business ideas. The panel of judges included heads of multinational companies.
Discussion. Today we see the economy in this country growing at a very healthy pace. But if you pause and look back, what you see is that it is led by public investment. And there's little private commercial enterprise really contributing to that growth. So I'm sure you're aware that for growth to be sustainable, you need more enterprise. It cannot go on like this, 100% driven by the public sector. So the public sector has started the process, but from here onwards to take it to the next stage, you need more and more entrepreneurship.
The Sports First Mobitel Platinum Awards is Sri Lanka's first award ceremony that recognizes sportsmen and women from across the board for their talents and achievements in the national and international arenas. The Platinum Awards promotional vehicular parade arrived in Kadugannawa today.
The Sports First Mobitel Platinum Awards promotional vehicular parade, which commenced its journey in Jaffna, reached Kadugannawa this morning. Following the presentation of a commemorative plaque to superfighter boxer Isanka Sanjay of Vidyartha College, Kandy, an opportunity was granted for sportsmen and women in the area to obtain application forms for the Sports First Mobitel Platinum Awards. At the promotional event, which also featured a musical performance, area residents were given the opportunity to cast their ballot for who they believe should win the Most Popular Sportsman Award. For more information on the Platinum Awards, call 0710 420 420.
A group of pensioners staged a demonstration in Monaragal today demanding that their pension arrears be resolved.
The demonstrators displayed some creative skill in their protests, and we leave you tonight with a look at the footage captured on our camera. I'm Shayan Silva.
And I'm Mahina Bongza. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care and good night.
Janapati